What is Guinea worm and when will it be eradicated? Hello, I'm Matt from England. I like random subjects and making YouTube videos about them. I'm going to introduce you to the guinea worm, what it is, and when it might be eradicated. Okay, let's jump straight in. So, what is guinea worm? Well, guinea worm is an infectious disease. Its medical official title is Dracunculus medonensis, which is a bit of a mouthful, so most people know it as guinea worm. And part of its life cycle is a worm, a kind of disgusting worm that lives inside people for part of its life cycle. If you want to have nightmares, Google guinea worm disease to see some pretty horrific photos of the worm as it's exiting people's bodies, often through the feet or lower legs. It's a really painful experience for people who have it, and these worms can be, up to a metre long. It's a pretty disgusting disease, and it's very painful for people to experience. And it's a disease that affects people in poor areas in Africa. So let's look at the Wikipedia article for guinea worm. It used to be really common across much of Africa and Eurasia. Now it's only in 5 countries in Africa: Chad, Ethiopia, Mali, South Sudan and Angola. And if we look down here, we can see the life cycle of this guinea worm. So it lives in water. It infects people through people drinking water where the larvae are in the water, not as worms, as their larvae state. And then people drink this water infected, and then the worm sort of grows inside you until it's ready to come out, and it painfully exits, as we saw in those images, through the foot or leg, or actually several parts of the body where it can exit. Really painful for the person that suffers it. It's not usually deadly, but it's very painful. So the worm emerges from the foot, usually when the person's in water again, and then the worms lay larvae, and the life cycle continues round in that way. So it needs humans as part of its life cycle to survive. So guinea worm has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, perhaps millions of years. It might even be what's described in the Bible by the Israelites as the fiery serpent. No one really knows, but it could be that this worm is what they were talking about, because it's very fiery, it's very painful when it exits the body. So people have been suffering from this for time immemorial. So it's a good candidate of what's being described here in the Bible. So there's some information here about the life cycle of the guinea worm, and obviously, like infectious diseases like polio or smallpox, it's one that humans want to eradicate from the world. So stop it from infecting more and more people. So, as we can see in this case statement from the Carter Centre, the guinea worm really affects people in extreme poverty. So people who are already poor in sub-Saharan Africa is where this guinea worm still survives, in these countries in red at the moment, 5 countries. And there's no medicine to cure guinea worm, there's no vaccine. People don't develop an immunity to the disease. They stop the disease by not drinking infected water. So as you can see, this kid here has been given a filter tube to drink water, so that when he drinks water from either from the tap or from the water source, the larvae of the guinea worm can't fit through the filter. So you're not at risk. If you drink water through this filter pipe, you're not at risk of swallowing the larvae of the guinea worm, and therefore the guinea worm growing inside your body. And that's the only way to stop it, is clean. It's more than clean water source, it's filtered water source, so that the larvae, where they are still in existence, the guinea worm, don't get into the bodies of people to be able to grow into worms, to be able to continue the cycle that we saw before of worms being able to grow inside the human body, come out, and then laying more larvae to infect more people. To stop that cycle, you need to filter the water source. So that brings us on nicely to the eradication of guinea worm, and there's actually a nice Wikipedia article about this, and the main players in this is the World Health Organization, who run or set up the elimination of infectious diseases not just Guinea worm but other diseases too, and the Carter Foundation, which was set up by Jimmy Carter, the ex-American president. If you remember Jimmy Carter, he was the peanut farmer who was president in the late 70s to very early 80s. So after Jimmy Carter left office, he set up the Carter Center and Foundation with his wife Rosalind to tackle infectious diseases, promote peace around the world, human rights, mediating conflict, and as part of one of these health programs was the eradication of Guinea worm. So he's really done some great things since leaving office, and one of them is leading this effort to eradicate Guinea worm. You can see how much Guinea worm has been reduced over the years. As recently as the 80s, there was millions of cases of Guinea worm in the world, and these are just documented cases, so likely the cases were far higher than that, and several millions. And now the figures are down to less than 100, double digits, which is a kind of amazing progress over the last 30 years. The number of countries where Guinea worm exists has been decreased as well. You can see this in the Carter Center document too. They estimate 3.5 million cases in 1986. It's not too long ago, and look how well they've brought the figures down. And in the last sort of 10 years, there have been less than 1,000 cases in the world, and these are the countries that still have it: Chad, South Sudan, Angola, Mali, and Ethiopia. The period that the larvae worm lasts is about a year, so it takes quite a while before you can be sure that all the Guinea worm has gone from a certain area or a certain country. So although these figures say 0 for now, it takes quite a while to validate that and make sure that there's no lasting Guinea worm anywhere that's not been reported or not infected anyone yet. So the thing with Guinea worm is it needs humans to continue its process, for the worm to live in the human body, to come out and to lay more larvae. So if you stop that cycle, if you stop Guinea worm from infecting people, then it stops it from reproducing. If you got rid of all the Guinea worm in the world, it can no longer reproduce. It will be killed off. We want to make the Guinea worm, like the dodo, like the woolly mammoth, extinct, and then it can never infect anyone ever again, because it will no longer exist. And these are the figures for the last couple of years, up to 2021. Guinea worm used to only infect humans. Now it's been infecting dogs as well in several countries, and occasionally reports of a cat, but it still seems to need humans as part of the cycles. There was a lot of dogs infected recently, although that number is coming dramatically down, and the number of humans infected per year is coming down. So the Carter website has a very good running case total of the latest numbers of Guinea worm in the world. In fact, it's been reporting these figures since it started in the 80s. It used to be in 21 countries, 3.5 million cases. This infectious disease is so close to being eradicated. It would be a wonderful human achievement to eradicate this disease. So eradication is getting the population of a disease down to 0 so that it can no longer infect anyone ever again. So in the whole history of humanity, very few diseases have completely been eradicated. One is smallpox, that was eradicated through a huge campaign by the WHO through this century, and rinderpest, which infects cattle. But Guinea worm is one of the diseases we're trying to eradicate as a human race, along with polio, yaws, and malaria. Those are good candidates that can be eradicated. So from this website you can see the latest figures by month of Guinea worms. So you can see there's been 2 so far this year. You can see the figures month by month for 2021, and the annual numbers too. So the numbers are way down this year, but sometimes it takes a while for the numbers to be updated, for the data to be gathered, and so forth. But And also this website, which I'll leave a link to below, has a monthly update on the number of guinea worm cases. So you can look at this and see how many cases there have been this month. So these are the countries where guinea worm is still in existence, and you can see how in virtually every country the numbers have come down since 2011. But occasionally guinea worm can disappear from a country and come back again because it's been transported back there, or there hasn't been any reported cases but there's been unreported cases, so the guinea worm still exists. So the Carter Foundation is still working in these villages, in these places, to find the last remnants of guinea worm in the world and try and stop that cycle, to stop it from infecting any more people. And once we do that, the guinea worm will never exist again. So hopefully that will happen in the next few years. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. When do you think guinea worm will be eradicated? Will it take another 10 years? Will it never happen? Will it always squeak away from being eradicated? Or do you think in 5-10 years time, when someone watches this video, guinea worm will have been eradicated and it'll be a thing of the past? Anyway, thanks for watching this video to the end. Give it a like if you like it, and I'll see you soon. Bye!